Did you know that aging doesn't just bring wisdom and wrinkles? It also brings a few quiet struggles that no one ever warned us about? Things you can't quite explain, like forgetting someone's name mid-sentence or suddenly feeling exhausted after making lunch. They're small, maybe even invisible to others, but they can chip away at your confidence. In today's video, we're going to gently uncover 12 of those unexpected, and yes, sometimes unpleasant, changes that come with aging. But more than that, we'll talk about simple, heartful ways to handle them with grace. Because growing older may be inevitable, but struggling through it doesn't have to be. Let me tell you about a woman named Elena. She's 67, kind-hearted, used to walk 2 miles every morning and never missed a book club. But lately she's found herself standing in the kitchen, wondering why she walked in, or sitting in her favorite chair, too tired to reach for the remote. She told me once, "I feel like I'm becoming someone I don't recognize, and I don't know how to explain it to my kids." Maybe you've felt that way too. If so, I want you to know this. You're not alone. And you're not fading. You're just adjusting to a new chapter. And today, together, we're going to walk through it, gently, truthfully, and with open hearts. Let's begin. 1. Memory gaps. The name on the tip of your tongue. There's a funny thing that happens sometimes when you're out shopping or taking a walk. You run into someone, a neighbor, a friend from church, and their face lights up when they see you. You smile back, chat a bit, but in your head, you're quietly panicking. What's their name again? It's right there on the tip of your tongue, but it just won't come. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you're not alone. I remember once standing in the frozen food aisle, talking to a lovely lady I'd known for years, and for the life of me, I couldn't recall her name. It didn't mean I didn't care. It's just something that comes with time. Little gaps, like pebbles on the path. Our brains are incredible, but as we age, retrieval gets a bit slower. Not broken, just different. And there are simple ways to live with this gently. For instance, I started keeping a small notebook by the phone and by the door. When I meet someone new or hear a name, I jot it down. Later, before going to a gathering, I give it a quick glance. And just like that, I feel more at ease. Some folks use the Notes app on their phone. Others say the name out loud a few times when they hear it. It's not about being flawless. It's about being thoughtful with ourselves. And if you ever forget someone's name, just smile and ask again. Most folks will be flattered you cared enough to reconnect. You don't remember a name because you've lost it. You forget because your heart was focused on the moment, not the label. Now, speaking of moments that shift beneath our feet, let's talk about something even sneakier. That sudden wave of tiredness that shows up when we least expect it. 2. Energy drops. The sudden tiredness after the smallest task. Have you ever stood up to fold a load of laundry and halfway through felt like you needed to sit down and rest? Or walked into the kitchen to prepare a sandwich, only to feel like you'd just finished a marathon afterward? That's something I started noticing in my early 70s, and at first I thought maybe I was just having an off day. But then those off days started showing up more regularly. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's just the body saying, I need a little more grace now. One morning, I decided to clean the windows, something I used to do in a breeze. But just cleaning the living room ones wore me out completely. So I sat down, poured a glass of water, and thought, maybe I need to change how I approach these things. Since then, I've learned to spread my energy like butter, slowly, evenly, and with care. Instead of doing everything in one go, I break tasks up. A little in the morning, a little after lunch, and lots of breaks in between. I keep a chair in places I usually stand, like the kitchen or garden, just to rest when I need it. And hydration, my friend, is key. We don't always feel thirsty as we age, but our body still needs the water. I keep a glass near me at all times. That, along with smaller, balanced meals, has helped me feel steadier throughout the day. You're not tired because you're doing too little. You're tired because you've carried so much for so long. Now let's shift from body to spirit. Because sometimes it's not just our muscles that feel heavy. It's our hearts, too. And one of the biggest emotional surprises for many of us? That extra weight creeping in, even when we haven't changed much at all. Let's talk about that next. 3. Weight gain confusion. When the scale creeps up, even though you haven't changed a thing. I remember looking in the mirror one morning, holding my robe closed a little tighter, and thinking, now wait a minute, I've been eating the same oatmeal, walking the same laps in the backyard, and somehow this belly feels snugger than it did last month. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe it's just water weight, I told myself. But the truth is, this little change didn't go away, and I know I'm not the only one. So many women, especially in our 60s and beyond, face this silent frustration. The number on the scale rises, even though we haven't eaten any more pie or missed our evening walks. The culprit? Our metabolism slowing down, quietly but surely. The body starts to store more, even when we're doing everything right. And it's not just about food. Hormones shift, muscle mass reduces, and suddenly our old routines don't work the same. I found comfort not in cutting out all joy, but in adjusting gently. Smaller portions, more vegetables, protein with every meal, and strength exercises I could do at home. And grace. Yes, giving myself grace. I started using a small salad plate instead of a dinner one. Not as a punishment, but as a way to remind myself that less can be enough. And when I did indulge, I did it with full joy, not guilt. We don't change to chase numbers. We change to feel light in our spirit again. Next, let's talk about the doctor's office, because as the body changes, so does the calendar. More checkups, more appointments, and sometimes more overwhelm. But don't worry, we'll walk through that together, right now. Chapter 4. Health appointments overload. When the calendar becomes a medical logbook. I still remember flipping through my kitchen calendar and realizing nearly every square had a doctor's name scribbled on it. Cardiologist on Monday. Eye check on Thursday. A follow-up lab test squeezed in next week. I chuckled and said to myself, I used to write down coffee dates and weekend trips. Now it's just appointments and pill reminders. And it can feel like too much, like your whole life starts to revolve around managing a body that suddenly needs so much attention. It's not just the visits, it's the prep, the waiting rooms, the driving, the worry. For many women in our 60s and beyond, it can become overwhelming. It's easy to feel like you're not living, just keeping up. But here's the thing I've come to learn. These appointments, annoying as they may be, are a gift. They mean you're still showing up for yourself. They mean prevention, early catches, and peace of mind. What helped me was creating a wellness binder. I keep my test results, my med list, questions I want to ask, even just notes about how I've been feeling. It made everything feel a little less scattered. And I give myself grace. I say, this is part of tending the garden of my body. We don't take care of our health just to avoid illness. We do it so we can keep choosing life, over and over again. Speaking of choosing life, what happens when your heart's in it, but your mind just won't stay still? In the next part, we'll gently explore the quiet struggle of staying focused, and what you can do when your thoughts begin to wander. 5. loss of focus. When reading no longer feels the same. There was a time when I could sit for hours with a good book, lost in its world. These days, I find myself rereading the same page 2 or 3 times. I glance up, distracted. I start thinking about dinner, or whether I left the laundry running. And just like that, the story slips away. If you've felt this too, you're not alone. Many women in our 60s and beyond find that focus doesn't come as easily as it once did. It's not about intelligence, and it's not a sign of something wrong. It's part of how the brain gently shifts with age. Our minds become like busy kitchens, always cooking, but hard to keep tidy. What's helped me is embracing shorter, quieter moments. I choose lighter reading in the afternoon and save more thoughtful books for morning when my mind is freshest. I use a bookmark, not just to hold my place, but to anchor my attention. Sometimes I even read aloud, letting the words slow me down. And I remind myself, reading isn't a race. It's a way to reconnect with yourself. We don't read to finish the book. We read to find ourselves in the pages. And speaking of connection, sometimes the loneliest moments aren't when you're alone. It's when you realize the voices you used to hear every day have slowly faded. Let's talk about that next. 6. Social shrinking. When your circle quietly fades. Not long ago, weekends used to mean coffee with Carol, Sunday church with Helen, or a quick phone call to Nancy just to check in. But lately the calls come less often. Some friends have moved away to be near their children, others have gotten ill, and a few, well, they've gone where we all eventually will. One by one, the noise of friendship fades into a quieter rhythm. For many women over 60, this shrinking circle is one of the hardest parts of aging. It's not about feeling lonely all the time. It's that deep ache of missing the ones who knew your stories without you having to explain them. And sometimes, it's the silence that's loudest. But here's the tender truth I've come to hold on to. Connections don't have to disappear. They just evolve. Sometimes it means reaching out in new ways. Joining a book club at the library or sending a card, yes, a real one, to someone you've lost touch with. Even a gentle smile to the neighbor walking their dog can bloom into something beautiful over time. We don't outgrow friendships. We just need to water them differently as we age. And while social life changes, so does how our bodies feel. Things we once did with ease start to feel different, even difficult. Let's talk about that shift, especially when it comes to simply moving around. 7. Losing mobility. Every step feels like a decision. There was a time I didn't even think before bending down to pick something up. I'd glide through the house, carry groceries in both hands, kneel in the garden for hours. But these days, every movement feels like it's planned ahead, calculated, cautious, sometimes even avoided. You learn to count the number of steps it takes to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You size up a staircase like it's a mountain. That's the truth no one really warns us about. Mobility doesn't disappear all at once. It retreats slowly, step by thoughtful step. And with it comes frustration, even a touch of grief. Because losing mobility isn't just about movement. It's about freedom, spontaneity, dignity. But I've also learned this. We can still move with grace. It just takes new habits. Gentle stretches each morning. A few balance exercises. Using walking poles on our daily stroll. It's not about pushing hard. It's about staying steady. Listening to your body, treating it like a beloved friend, not a burden. Mobility isn't just about the legs. It's about keeping the spirit willing, even when the body whispers no. And speaking of whispers, sometimes the hardest ones come in the quiet of night, when sleep no longer comes easily, and we find ourselves staring at the ceiling, wide awake. Let's talk about that next. 8. Poor sleep, waking in the night, staring at the ceiling. It usually starts around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, no noise, no dream. Just this sudden awareness. I look around in the dark, shift my pillow, maybe get up to check the thermostat or sip some water, but the sleep doesn't come back. My mind starts drifting. Did I forget to call Susan back? Is that appointment tomorrow or next week? Before I know it, an hour has passed, and I'm still wide awake. Sleep used to be a quiet comfort. A full night, no questions asked. But as we age, it becomes a little more delicate. Hormones change, aches settle in, worries visit uninvited, and the silence of night, once peaceful, starts to echo. But over time, I've picked up a few gentle habits. I keep a soft light beside the bed, and a small book of poems I can flip through without turning on the whole world. I've learned to stop fighting the wakefulness, and instead welcome it with kindness. I do a little breathing, or just lie there and listen to the rhythm of my breath. Most nights that's enough to coax sleep back. You don't lose sleep just because your body is older. Sometimes it's because your heart is holding more than it used to. And when we carry so much, even the world around us starts to feel blurry. Speaking of which, let's talk about how changes in our vision and hearing can quietly shift how we connect with others and with ourselves. 9. Vision and hearing loss. A world gone blurry and quiet. I still remember the moment I realized I couldn't follow a conversation at the dinner table. Everyone was laughing, stories flying around, but the words came in muffled, like I was listening through a window. And when I looked down at the menu, the letters blurred like watercolor. I felt invisible in that moment, there, but not quite part of the world anymore. As we age, our senses soften. Vision fades gently. Street signs get harder to read. Recipes blur in the kitchen light. Hearing becomes more selective. Not just missing words, but missing tone, the nuance, the music in someone's laughter. It's not just inconvenient, it's isolating. But here's what I've learned. Getting help doesn't mean giving in. My glasses? They're not a crutch. They're a bridge. Hearing aids? They bring me back into the room, and they bring life back to the stories I once felt left out of. You don't fix your sight or hearing to see or hear more. You do it to feel present in the life still unfolding around you. And when we stay present, we start noticing the subtle things again, like how the seasons feel stronger in our skin. Let's talk about how our sensitivity to temperature shifts and how we can stay comfortable through those changes.
10. Temperature intolerance. When hot feels hotter and cold feels colder. There was a time when I could spend an afternoon in the garden under the sun or take a winter walk wrapped in a single coat. But lately, something's shifted. A light breeze gives me chills, and summer heat feels like a heavy blanket pressing down. It's not just about comfort, it affects everything. The way I sleep, what I wear, even how long I can sit outside with my grandkids. As we grow older, our bodies regulate temperature less efficiently. We lose some of that natural buffer we used to take for granted, and while others are enjoying the sunshine or the snow, we're reaching for a sweater or turning up the fan. It's frustrating, sometimes even isolating, but it doesn't have to mean retreating from the world. The trick is to prepare smartly, layer your clothing so you can adjust throughout the day, keep water nearby in summer, and cozy throws in winter. Even something as small as a microwavable heat pad or a cooling towel can turn a difficult day into a peaceful one. Aging teaches us that comfort isn't a luxury, it's a form of self-respect. And when we respect our limits, we free up more space to enjoy what truly matters. But sometimes even the smallest annoyance, a noise, a delay, a misplaced item, can stir something deeper. Let's explore what happens when our temper shortens and how we can meet that with grace. 11. Shorter temper. When small things feel too big. There was a time when I could laugh off a delayed delivery or calmly wait out a long phone call. But these days, something as minor as spilled tea or a noisy neighbor can make me feel like I'm going to snap. It's not that I've become mean or impatient. It's that life feels louder, faster, and sometimes just too much. As we age, our emotional threshold changes. Our bodies are more sensitive. Our minds carry more memories, and sometimes it doesn't take much to stir up that storm inside. And what makes it harder is the guilt that comes after the "why did I get so upset" feeling. But here's what I've learned. A shorter temper doesn't mean a smaller heart. It just means we need more room to breathe. Deep breathing, quiet mornings, even writing down what we're grateful for each night. These small rituals gently stretch our patience and ease that tension. Peace isn't found in silence. It's created by choosing stillness, even when the world feels noisy. When we offer ourselves grace, we start showing more of it to others. And that's how we hold on to connection, even as our days shift. Speaking of connection, there's one change that hits hardest for many of us: needing help when we've always done it all ourselves. Let's talk about that gently. 12. Struggling with asking for help. The quiet weight of doing it alone. There's something about having done it all your life, raising kids, running a household, being the one others leaned on, that makes asking for help feel unfamiliar, even a little shameful. I remember one morning I stood by the grocery bags in my car, hands aching, back stiff, and yet I couldn't bring myself to call my daughter. It wasn't pride exactly. It was more a whisper of fear. Am I becoming a burden? This is something many of us carry silently. The resistance to ask for help, even when we know we need it. We don't want to be seen as weak, or worse, needy. But here's a truth I've learned with time. Accepting help isn't giving up control. It's allowing love to reach us in a different form. Sometimes giving someone the chance to help is the kindest thing we can do, for them and for ourselves. Whether it's letting a neighbor shovel the driveway or asking a friend to drive us to an appointment, it builds bridges. It creates space for togetherness in a world that often feels isolating. Letting someone help you doesn't make you smaller. It makes your circle stronger. So the next time you hesitate to ask, remember that being human means needing each other. And with that thought, let's gently move toward wrapping up, because this journey, like all good stories, deserves a meaningful ending. Embracing change and moving with grace. If you've seen a few more birthdays, aging isn't just about the body changing. It's about the world around us shifting too. And sometimes that can feel like walking through a familiar house where the furniture has all been moved. But here's the thing: discomfort doesn't mean defeat. It simply means something inside us is still alive, still adjusting, still trying. Each challenge we've talked about, forgetfulness, fatigue, loss of friends, or independence, they're not signs of weakness. They're signs of a life that's been deeply lived. And now it's about learning how to live it differently, more gently, more honestly, with less pressure to fix and more intention to feel, to listen, and to accept. Like my neighbor Judy once said to me after she gave up driving, I thought I'd feel small, but instead I felt light. Lightness, that's the gift we give ourselves when we stop resisting every change and start finding new rhythms within them. A short walk instead of a jog, a phone call instead of a coffee meetup, a slower morning, not because we're lazy, but because we're wise enough now to savor. So what's one small shift you can make today? Not because you have to, but because you're ready to be gentler with yourself? You don't age to let go of life, you age to hold it more tenderly. And if this video felt like a mirror or maybe a gentle nudge, share it. Leave a comment with the part that spoke to your heart. Subscribe if you'd like more of these warm reminders. Because growing older doesn't mean fading out. It means learning how to glow quietly, deeply, and together.